My name is Cristina Bută and I'm the artistic director of Sector 1 Gallery here in Bucharest. We have just opened the exhibition Les Femmes du Feu, Women of Fire, curated by Thale Fastvold, whom I'd like to thank for engaging in a conversation with two of the artists present in the exhibition, Codruța Cernea and Marianne Darlén from Norway. And I'm really happy that this exhibition could take place, and I will let Thale tell more about it.
So my name is Thale Fastvold. I am a Norwegian artist and curator, sometimes, mostly an artist, but when I can curate interesting exhibitions, I also do that. So I was very happy when Sector 1 Gallery approached me about this theme, where the only guidelines I had was that it was supposed to be an exhibition with women artists from Romania and from Norway. So this is Les Femmes du Feu is an exhibition with 4 contemporary Norwegian and Finnish artists and 4 contemporary Romanian artists and also 2 historically Romanian artists, all working within the landscape of surrealism. So it's surrealism. It's some historical artists that worked with surrealism already in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and so forth. And also there are the contemporary artists who are kind of rediscovering surrealism and working with it right now in this exact time.
I haven't painted landscapes, at least not for showing. I've painted a lot of landscapes just for myself. It's what I do when I'm on vacation. But I haven't. Usually I paint portraits. And in one of these pictures, it's like a figure with a snake around his neck, and it's like my Adam figure, where I took Eve away and let Adam stand there alone with the snake. I have painted a lot of male bodies before, but here I took away the face, and it was all about the connection with the nature. Yeah.
And I remember you saying something also about the specific light phenomenon that we can maybe see in the picture, because it reminded me how you were talking about your dreams influencing your work somehow. And then if you want to say something about this specific light phenomenon that is very visible in all of your pictures.
I have been very fascinated by works of Anne Besant. It is about a form of, I don't remember what the society's name was again, but it's like a Christian mysticism, and it was a society formed in New York in the 1890s, and they believed that every energy has its own form, like thought forms, and she made a book that is called Thought Forms. Anger has this form, love has this form, and so on. And it is not only that, but when I gave birth to my first child, I had this experience that I saw a lot of light. I saw this light phenomenon, and after some weeks after I had my baby, I just sketched them down, and I didn't do anything about it. I didn't make any bigger pictures. Before some years later, I made pictures out of these forms, and in a way I was thinking a lot about the energy, and that's how the light phenomenon in a way got into my art and into my life, because I saw all this hildring, this phenomenon, and that's how also I started to get interested in these thought forms.
But it was more like a response to pain, the phenomenon, than a religious phenomenon.
I don't know what it was. Probably it was like a response to unmeasurable pain. So everybody, it's like you say when you get a headache, you can have like rainbow vision, so it's kind of a rainbow vision of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is interesting how we put all the things into art and work with it through art.
Yeah.
And this is also, no, I wanted to talk a bit more about your work because I also saw your other work called Biophilia. So, yes, so I wanted to ask you a bit more about how you relate to nature and plants and the nature around you somehow in your work, if you could talk a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a village. I was raised by my grandparents. So I guess we all have inside of us, you know, the feeling that we experience as children. So I have this kind of freedom and animals around me and, you know, just no rules. But now I do live a very urban life and I stay inside a lot and I experience a lot of nature through a screen because I realize that I look through a screen before others did because I did IT in high school, so I was into this computers world before, you know, it hit the world. So I'm really used to having this, you know, images through a screen. But with Biophilia is part of a project that I named Future Nostalgia, and the core message was this, you know, attention to environment and the situation we are all in. And I just imagine a future scenario where we are all locked inside, trapped inside, and we do not have access to external landscape as we do now. And the paintings, you know, the landscape painting is the only thing that we it reminds us of our past and our connection to nature. And also what I like the most on a canvas is this illusion of space, because when you experience it, it brings this kind of meditative feeling to you. It creates this state of being. So, and landscape as a subject has automatically, you know, facilitates this, you know, just the way it is. Like when you are in a landscape, you know, when you have these open spaces, you immediately feel this kind of, you are part of something greater than you, and it's a feeling that I try to convey through my paintings a lot.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, your work, but also a lot of the other works in this specific exhibition is very much about that part of, well, that is considered surrealism, when landscape and people are sort of mixing in and out of each other and becoming one in strange and interesting and not naturalistic ways, which I find very interesting and also very inspiring, because this is, I mean, what we, in our modern world, what we have to remember is that we, you know, we are nature.
Yes, we are nature.
We humans are part of nature. And this is also my goal, that was my goal when I was looking at works for this exhibition, to find works that could also remind people about this, you know. And I see, and that is something that I find very, like, I mean, more with maybe women artists than men, that the plants and the people are just flowering or growing into each other in a very, well, interesting and wild way. So, which is also, I mean, your work is also very much like that, that the person is kind of mixing with nature, yes, and nature is mixing with the person, and the energies are kind of just like flowing in and out.
Yeah,
so
maybe women, it's just a thought that maybe women artists also is like, or women, like when having child, you are reminded that you are not an entity, you are not a lonely monad, you know, in the world. Actually, your children, they grow out of you, they're like a part of you. So, and then you remember that, or you understand that you grew out of somebody. So, like, humans are like growing in and out of each other all the time, and they are like some big mass of nature.
Yes, I mean, we are in fact kind of a very successful organism living on the earth, because we have managed, humans have managed to spread so wildly, which is also interesting, and who knows what will happen later. I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also it's a choice, you know, what you do as an artist, because there is so much freedom, you know, to experiment. And I started in my early years, I painted after movie stills, and what I wanted is to be able to create my own world with my own aesthetic scenarios and everything. So I try to grow into that. So for me, that's like a really good challenge. It's something that I want to do, and just to propose new ways of seeing, living, whatever, you know, just these kind of alternative scenarios.
Yeah, because this was actually another question. If you have something that you specifically want to convey through your art, if you have like a goal with your works that will, what do you want to say? Do you want to influence people to do or feel something?
Yeah, but I started I went to the art school when I was already 26. So I was a little bit older than, you know, the most art students. And I realized pretty quickly, you know, I think in the second year, that I realized that as a person, if I'm going towards something, my art cannot go in an opposite direction. They sort of have to go in the same direction. And I was looking for a certain state of being. I recently went to a vacation, 2 weeks, and everything was so beautiful. And it was like a white canvas for me to feel my emotions and what I was feeling. And I realized that I have so much emotional baggage that I carry with me in a perfect scenario. And this kind of environment really helps me to clear that baggage and change the way I feel. And I guess above everything, what I like with my painting is to facilitate a certain state of being. There is a longing towards something greater, better, more calm, more serene, more this is like this. It's very aspirational, very idealistic, and I just find new ways to sort of convey that very peaceful feeling. Yeah.
It feels a bit meditative to look at your works. That's and also when we were installing and planning the exhibition, I felt that with your works it was very much possible to just breathe and rest a bit, which is also it's a very good feeling. So I think for me at least, you're succeeding with this.
It's like when you are on the beach and you are looking at the horizon and you have that feeling that's like the top layer. This is the ultimate thing. And also depending on where I am in life, it just reflects in real time whatever is preoccupying and so on. But yeah, that's the ultimate goal.
No, I also wanted to ask Marianne a bit about your experience of coming here to Romania, because you are the only Norwegian artist that has been here actually for this week, preparing the exhibition and installing and meeting the Romanian art scene, and also physically seeing all the works by the Romanian artists that we have in the show. So if you have anything that you would like to share about this experience, that would be interesting to the listeners, I think.
Just that it has been a very good experience. That is a very beautiful city, and that it's both in this exhibition and also I feel like when we're out in the city, it's I just see all the trees. It's so much like green. It's so much big trees everywhere. It's not like just in the planned places, you know, neatly ordered. It's like more living, and so it's interesting because it's like a very big city and very much nature in the same. It's like wild nature and wild city.
Yeah, organic. It's
Yeah,
more
very
organic the way the
yeah.
nature is here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I heard
very,
it. Yeah, said before. Yeah.
But like for me, like you said about for me, I haven't done a lot of like I said, nature pictures. My interest when I went to art school was I got very interested in how I see the world as a woman. And not seeing myself as a woman, but how I see others. So I have painted a lot of men and tried to portray them how I see them. And but it's like you said, we're evolving and we're getting older. I'm like 47 now, so now it's like more nature, and I'm more interested in like the connection between things, but it's also all goes back to how you feel the world.
And it is, I mean, it could be different when you are a woman and when you are a man. I mean, this is at least the proposition, I guess, a bit with this exhibition. And also, to me, it has been so interesting to come here and meet the Romanian art world and see how many really strong, wonderful women artists that exists. And you don't see that much from, at least from Norway or from the rest of the world. I knew about, of course, Geta, Brătescu and Hedda, Sterne from before, but besides them, I did not know that many Romanian women artists or men, but so it has been really great to see that, and I'm really happy that we managed to put together this show so that we could see the Romanian and the Norwegian art scene together, because I feel that it's kind of a really good conversation going on here, because even though it's very different cultures, it still has this link.
Yeah, point of intersection.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That it's like the works are very much talking with each other, which I find interesting.
Yeah, and me personally, because as I said, I look a lot of, I see a lot of images through a screen. I looked at a lot of Nordic landscapes, photographs made by National Geographic photographers, and you know, a lot of aerial photography, and just the landscape is spectacular. It's just magical, dreamy, and I really, actually, I use it in my works. In We Are Nature. Yeah, it's a Nordic landscape there, Swedish. Yeah. So I feel like these photographs, as I thought, it's like you experience what I dream about. You know?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure it's, that would also be very interesting to Karoline, Hjorth and Riitta, Ikonen, who are the artists behind the photographs that we have here in the gallery.
Yeah.
So it would have been great to have all the artists here so that we could also have their perspectives on, but now at least we are. Yes.
But I'm very glad that Marianne also could come from Norway. That it's really special to actually be able to be together, and I'm glad that Codruța also could come and during the installing, and I think it adds an extra insight also for us, and to be part of this exchange and this process. Yeah, and I'm actually curious, just in terms of because I've in you talking about your works and how you approach your subjects, Marianne, I just wanted to ask if the way how you choose your mediums of work, and is that somehow connected to the topics also, or how do you go about doing that? Is this also a meditative kind of integrative process and mixing a lot of different mediums into that, or because I think the result is something very fluid and it comes to life.
Yeah, actually I have been the way I have I used to find models and I used to take photographs of them, and then afterwards I would use to sketch a lot, and I would put the models into my own fantasy. After a lot of sketching, I used to do big watercolors, like 2 meters, big papers, and so I had to plan it a lot. And when I work with the watercolor, I'm just thinking about the technical stuff because it's very hard to get it right.
You have to work fast.
So it's different. First I have the idea, and then I go out and I seek who I want to paint or what I want to paint, and then I kind of take it into my fantasy, and then it's very meditative, and I sketch a lot and I change a lot. And when I do the big paintings, it's not very meditative, and it's not something I sit and do along. I do it like maybe I have to have, after I got children, I have not had more than 5 hours a day, continuous time to do a painting. So I stopped doing big watercolors and I started to work with acrylics because it was easier to stop it, because the acrylics are not bleeding the watercolors. When I stop, I can go and I can come back the next day, and it have bled through the paper, and the image has changed. So I had to sit there for a long time afterwards, you know, and guard the painting, that it's not bleeding the wrong way, but bleeding the way I want it to bleed. So I feel more that, and also what I thought was very interesting or giving with working with watercolor was that it was very much a challenge. It felt like I did some sort of sports task also, because it had to be the right day and I had to be prepared, and like for the next 2 hours I'm totally into it and I'm getting it right, because I only have this one chance, because I can't paint over it afterwards. I don't use any white, I don't use any black, so I let the paper be the white. And when I started doing like acrylics, I have the same set of rules, so I use a lot of medium, but I will do it like it's now or never, like. And it works or it doesn't work. So I have to be very, and you can't paint for a very long time, because when you have to be very on, you know, mentally. Mm-hmm. But it's different parts. I do it in like a 3-way process. Yeah. It's not just one process. It's like 3 different parts. So it takes a long time. So when I start the painting part, I already have the story. I already have done all the sketching and done all the meditative and gotten the picture, and then it's just getting it down. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's fascinating to know a bit more about the process behind the work that we are looking at and admiring and trying to discover. Yeah.
Yes. I think, I mean, we don't have so much more time now, but I would like to ask you one more question, which is if there is something, what kind of project you are working on now? Do you have any other projects coming up that you would like to tell us a bit about, or something you would mention?
Yeah, I'm always the way I work is like I paint for about 1.5 years, and then I make an exhibition, and then I take a break. It depends, and then I start again. So it's like I have this kind of continuous, pretty slow-paced flow. And now I'm working. I feel like I make this 3rd series that when I'm trying to build a new world. I feel like it's more complex than the others, and I'm working with this around this idea of maternity and fertility and just creation in general and all its forms, from just biology to you know, everything that is in store for us, genetic engineer and stuff like that. But this is like in the back of my mind, because then when I start to actually do it and make the sketches, it always takes these various forms. And because I paint for so long, I get to make and just approach this subject from very different angles and various compositions and so on. The palette is going really darker and more intense, more saturated colors with ultramarine and red, which is a little bit too much for, it's a little bit stronger for compared to what I did so far. So yeah, this is what I'm working on. I didn't thought about the titles. I feel like I'm an involuntary witness to my own process, because it has gone so far from where I started. So it's like really interesting for me as well to see where it's going and so on.
So it will be interesting for us as well. And maybe I ask you also, Marianne, if you have some new projects that you would like to share with us before we finish up.
I don't have I get some, the way I work, I get really fascinated by something. And like now, I'm doing, I started doing paintings for this musician, Norwegian musician, Henrik Wernskjold. And I got very fascinated about his music, and I also we're giving out a record with his music, and I just listen to his music all the time, and I'm doing painting, and they are kind of surrealistic, and I also like to look at the art history at the same time and have a dialogue with. I always have to have a lot of art books and other books, and see things and make connections to other paintings and other things that has been done before. So I'm now in the process of just very freely doing, and I don't know what it's going to be or how it's going to work out, but I'm very positive about the result. Yeah.
Yeah, we are waiting to see it, yeah. And combined with music, it's like a dream.
I haven't done that before.
Super.
But I always, if I haven't done that before, I always play the same music. When I'm doing a show, or I always have some music I get hooked on, and I have to listen to that
me too.
all the
it's
time.
Like the soundtrack of
the same time,
yeah.
the soundtrack, and or a book, or the same.
So what's the soundtrack of this series?
I don't remember.
Yeah, for this I think I listen to a lot of this kind of synthwave music. It's a new, I mean, I think it's becoming more and more popular. I listen to on YouTube. There are a lot of artists, and it's kind of very synthetic electronic music, but with a very nostalgic vibe. It's a mix of two opposing things. So yeah.
Okay, I think thank you.
Thank you all. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a good conversation.
Yeah. I loved how there are interesting elements between the two works, even though it's a very different process and theme. Thank you for sharing everything. Yeah.